By the name of Allah, the most merciful and compassionate. First of all, let me greet you with Islamic greeting, Assalamu alaikum. Secondly, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Sayeed Nadeem Sadat, and I'll be teaching project management. Uh, and this course is assigned to fifth semester students, and I'll try my best to cover the first chapter in these video lectures. So in the first chapter, the following are the contents, and the students will be able to know the following things at the end of this video lecture. Students will be acquainted with the definition of a project, what are the project characteristics, how can we distinguish a project from program, and I'll be talking about parameters, which are actually limiting factors in a project, and I'll be talking about project classification. In addition, I'll discuss the types of projects we have, and last but not the least, the issues which arise during the project, which are mainly scope creep, hope creep, effort creep, and feature creep. So let's get started now. I'd like to start the video lecture with a very simple question, that what is a project? In fact, we are dealing with a project in our day-to-day life. For example, if we are constructing a house or doing a research, or if you are constructing school, if you're delivering capacity development trainings, or installing a panel system, a solar panel system at your home, or if you're involved in writing a book or launching a new product into the market, all these are the examples of a project. Now, coming back to the definition of a project, a project is a sequence of unique, complex, and connected activities which has one goal or purpose, which should be completed within a specific time period, and these activities should be within the budget and according to specification. There are other definitions are also available. For example, project management body of knowledge define project as a temporary endeavor to create a unique product, service, result, etc. The temporary nature of a project indicates a definite beginning and ending. The end is reached if the project objectives have been achieved, or when the project is terminated because its objectives cannot be achieved, or when the need for the project no longer exists. Every project creates a unique product, service, or result. Although the repetitive element may be presented in some project deliverables, this repetition does not change the fundamental uniqueness of the project work. For example, school buildings are constructed with the same or similar materials by the same team and same design, but each location is unique with different circumstances or different contractors and so on. Now I'm going to break down the project definition into several elements, and these elements are also considered the characteristics of the project. Let's look at each part of definition in detail. The first element of definition of project or characteristics of a project is sequence of activities. All the activities involved in a project should be carried out in some sort of sequence or in some chronological order. Or in other words, sequencing of activity is actually the process of identifying the relationship among the project activities. In the project management, the key benefit of this process is that it defines logical sequence of work to achieve the greatest efficiency, keeping in mind all the project constraints. To determine the sequence of activities in any project, it is very helpful if you think in terms of inputs and outputs. For example, if you want to install a solar panel system at your home, so what will you need as an input to complete the project? So definitely in inputs you will need a solar panel, wires, battery, and charger controller. So providing that if you have these inputs, you will be able to have output in form of solar system installed in your home. If you look at the table given in this slide, I have identified the activities involved in installing the solar system at your home. So let's say it's from activity 1 to activity 6. So activity 2 and 3 they are dependent on activity 1. So activity 2 and 3 can be simultaneously started if activity 1 is finished and provides output to activity 2 and 3. And when you are done with activity 2 and 3, so activity 4 and activity 5 can be started individually, and all these inputs will give you output, which is activity 6, and that is solar system is installed in your home. Unique activities. Activities involved in any project are unique, and this project has never happened before, and it's not going to happen again under the same condition. If you remember the example previously I have given, for example, the school building, which are constructed with the same material, with the same team, and in fact with the same design, but each time they are going to build the house, the location is different. So the location is the uniqueness of this project. Each time the project is repeated, there will be always something unique. For example, iPhone company producing latest mobile, iPhone Pro Max. If you compare it with the previous mobile phones, there are some unique features which iPhone Pro Max has. So thus it make it unique project as compared to the previous projects implemented by iPhone. Complex activities are more related to unique activities previously I talked about. If activities involved in any project are unique, so there will be also the element of complexity in the activities of a project. They are unlike like operation activities, which are repetitive in nature, and you know how to deal with them and the problems that arise from those operations. Those are routine problems and which can be solved very easily, but due to uniqueness and complex activities involved in the project, problems arising from them are mostly non-routine problems which needs to be dealt differently. Work breakdown structure, or WPS, is the tool used in the project management to decompose the complex activities into small activities or small chunk of work, so the activities can be carried out within the budget, and project managers are able to have a tight control over the resources just because of the tool being used by the project managers. The fourth characteristic of a project is connected activities. All the activities which are identified in any project, they must be connected with each other in order to achieve the objectives or goal of any project. And if these activities in the project are not connected very well, so it will result in wastage of resources, and the project managers will be unable to achieve the objectives of the project. The fifth element or characteristic of any project is one goal. All the connected activities should be directed to achieve one specific or many goals of the project. However, complex projects goals attainment becomes very difficult. So that's why project managers divide the complex projects into several sub-projects, which becomes very easy for them to achieve the goals. When deciding on the goals of any project, the project manager should set the goals smart. So they should be simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. The sixth element or characteristic of any project is that it's going to have some specific time period to complete the project, and this completion date is can be defined by the management, or it can be externally defined by the customer or government agencies. In the last slides, I'll be talking about different types of projects which are categorized due to their completion date. For example, we have type A, B, and C. These are all classified on the basis of time duration or specific completion date. The seventh element is within the budget. All the activities of any project should be completed within the budget, and budget is the allocation of resources, and resources mainly we have people, money, machines, which are dedicated to any projects. So the project managers have to ensure the correct flow of resources throughout the project life cycle. And being as a project manager, you have to ensure that you're not going to run out of the budget, and you're staying within the budget by eliminating the non-value added activities in any project. And non-value added activities are those activities which do not add any sort of value to the customer, and thus consuming your resources, which leads to over budget of the project. The last characteristic of any project is that these projects must be according to some specification, and these specifications or requirements are determined by the customer, management, or government agencies. For example, if any university management wants to change their manual system and they want to upgrade it to ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, so it is the management who will determine the specification of the project, what they really want in their project, and in how much time it should be completed. Now I'm going to talk about project versus operations. First, I will talk about similarities that exist between projects and operations, and differences which makes a project different from operation. So let's get started with similarity first. Uh, Whether it is project or operation, they are both performed by people, and they do have resources limitations. And in addition, the third similarity is that whether it's operation or project, they are both planned, executed, monitored, and controlled. And as far as the differences are concerned, operations are repetitive in nature. They are happening again and again in any organization, while projects are unique and temporary, and when the purpose of any project is achieved, it is terminated. Now, through examples, it would be very better to explain and show the differences between project and operation. The first one is launch a new product. So it's definitely a project. It is something new that you are going to produce and diffuse into the market. And later on, this new product will become the part of the operation, because you have to produce it in bulk and you have to diffuse it into the market. Manage a research unit, so definitely it's a day-to-day activity, and it falls into operations or functional. Conduct an appraisal, it's also a day-to-day activity, and it is part of the operation. Raising £50,000 in sponsorship, because it's a project and no similar project will be implemented in the future for this specific purpose. And selling company services is also considered operation, and it is happening on a repetitive basis. And reviewing existing procedures or improving the SOPs, standard operating procedures, this is also is project is considered project because you're going to have something unique, you're going to have something better than before. And supervising the office is also part of the operation, and building a house and writing a book are also considered projects. Now, dear students, I will be talking about what is a program. Program is nothing but a collection of projects, and if the projects are completed in some order, so the program will be considered completed. And if I compare program with a project is single part of any program, and programs do have larger scopes as compared to single projects. And I would definitely give you example of NASA, which is a big program, and their mission is to explore the unseen world. So in this program, they have several dozen projects. For example, these projects are implemented for scientific experiment. The projects include a project for Mars, a project for black holes, a project for Sun, etc. Before I go into detail of project parameters, you must have an idea of what exactly is parameter. Parameter is actually a limit or boundary which defines scope of particular process or activity, and project parameters define scope, budget, schedule, quality of the project, and there is interrelationship among these parameters. If you choose to increase the scope, you must also increase the schedule or budget, and if you reduce the budget, you must increase the schedule and reduce the quality or reduce the scope of the project. So understanding the relative flexibility of project parameters helps project managers to make decisions in line with the business requirements. For example, if budget is fixed and it is least flexible, therefore you will have to modify your schedule, scope, or quality if things change later on. And following are the five constraints which every project faces, that is mainly scope, quality, cost, timing, resources, and I'll be talking about each in detail in the later slides. The aforementioned constraints, I would like to talk about scope, project scope first of all. So you need to know what is scope. Scope is actually a statement which sets the boundary for any project. In addition, it tells you what to do and what not to do during the project. And as far as the project scope is concerned, it's a part of the planning during the project management, and it involves determining and documenting specific project goals, deliverable features, functions, tasks, deadlines, and last but not the least, cost. And in other words, what needs to be achieved and the work that must be done to deliver a project. A well defined project scope is a necessity to ensure the success of your project. Without it, no matter how efficient, how effective, and how hard you work, you will not be able to succeed in your project. Being as a project manager, when he is going to define the project scope, so he or she should adopt a clear vision and an agreement on the outcomes of the project. This allows each milestone of the project to stay on target. And for the project managers, the project scope is the first step in setting the project goals and objectives. The second constraint I would like to talk about is quality. And quality can be defined as something which is free from defects, deficiencies, And two types of quality are part of every project, and that is product quality and process quality. It is not always enough to make sure that you get a project done on time and under budget, but you have to make sure that you make the right product to suit your customer's need. Quality means making sure that you will build what you said and you would, and that you do it as effectively and efficiently as you can. And that means trying not to make too many mistakes and always keeping your project working towards the goal of creating the right product. And being as a project manager, you'll be managing quality on a project by setting goals and taking measurements. That's why you must understand the quality levels your stakeholders believe are acceptable and ensure that your project meets those targets, just like it needs to meet their budget and schedule goals. Third constraint is cost in any project. Cost and budget are interchangeably used in project management, and it comprises of financial resources which are needed to complete the project on time, and this is also predetermined in scope. And being as a project manager, you have to keep in mind that the cost does not just mean money for material. It consists of cost for laborers, vendors, quality control, and other factors as well. A widely used tool by project managers or cost management, where the project managers are able to estimate cost, they allocate cost, and the techniques they employ in order to reduce cost in any project. In any project, the projected costs are calculated during the planning phase of project, and it must be approved before the project work actually begins. Time is another constraint in any project, and time is the duration within which project should be completed. As for if the time and cost are concerned, they are negatively related to one another. If you are reducing time of any project, as a result of which cost will also increase because you want to complete the project within a shorter period of time, so you have to increase the number of inputs like employees, machines, and other resources which are consuming your cost. The fifth constraint I'm going to talk about is resource constraint, and resources are scarce. And being as a project managers, they are working on different other projects due to which availability of these scarce resources are unavailable. So, being as a project manager, we have to schedule proper schedule so that the activities can be performed in their predetermined time, or if the availability is difficult, so project managers have to leave them from outside parties.